Hello, everyone. We have a very special broadcast for you today. In studio, we have Amir Jahangiri, and Amir has been doing a series with me. And we also have Andrew Bartzis, who has decided to join us today. And we are going to have some fun today because the title of today's show is Using Magic, in whatever form you use magic, to solve your life problems, and also using it to solve frivolous problems. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to let you guys hand the floor over, first of all, to Andrew. Andrew, you've been
How you
involved in
doing?
this for a long
How's
time.
everyone doing today?
Yep. Tell me, what is your view with regard to magical preparations and using magic to remember what's on your grocery list?
So I have spoken about all of these subjects. It's understanding the confidence that one has to have in themselves
Mhm,
to reach into discipline, which is not a mystical skill.
mhm,
Once you have the discipline to be an active, conscious person, awake, whatever you're choosing to do is to greaten yourself. So every day is a form of magic.
mhm,
And we can live our lives a magical way, a sacred way, or replace that word any other way. Your consciousness is going to interact with you, the living human being, and how you interact with everyone else. And out of choice, you're going to evolve if you're choosing to use magic. Now, there are words like evolution, involution, de-evolution. All of those things can happen when you're a magical practitioner. So one of the first things that I like to talk about is how do we learn foresight? How do we learn hindsight? And that magical journey is writing about yourself, looking backwards at your writings and watching yourself grow, having little messages and meaning that go through the process. When we've learned hindsight just enough, and we've done enough personal cleansing of our thoughts and minds about negative subject matters or people or personalities or vampiristic or idealistic to a fault, like the CNN people that you watch at 20 hours a day. You can barely have a conversation with someone that's addicted to that type of nipple of information. When we make choices to have a greater strategy, that's another form of magic. That's refining one's consciousness from what has learned to
mhm.
understand I want to become a practitioner. Or in other magical terms, you're going to have a book of grimoire, the spells that you've done before. Those are ancient terms or modern terms. Choosing to be magic is discipline first and understanding your internal moral code and how you will go through evolutions, involutions, and challenges with whatever growth you're going to put in front of yourself. As long as you keep giving yourself a variety and not a mono practice style, you will grow and you will learn that magic is easy until you're ready to make it complex.
Mhm.
And then you step into the realm of activating your internal genius so that you can create special thought creations, which is the highest form of magic.
Understood. Amir, in terms of manifestation and magic, are these two the same thing in your opinion, or are they different? View on that.
We're continuously manifesting.
Mhm,
That ability to manifest is never diminished.
mhm,
However, it can be hijacked. So through self-limiting beliefs, parasitic thoughts, self-harm, and being brainwashed by external forces, your manifestation can be hijacked towards objectives that are not your own or not aligned with your own highest good.
mhm,
So again, that process of using ritual, self-purification, discipline in daily practice, it's all really a means to an end, and that end is discovering your true self, what it is that you really are,
mhm,
free of all these boundaries, these weights that are upon you.
mhm,
So the end result is the same. We're continuously manifesting in every moment we think and breathe, with every thought, with every firing of every neuron in our body. The entire being is involved. And yet having control and knowingness over that being, that is not an easy thing.
mhm.
So again, with daily practice, that purification, you become more in control, more knowing in what you're manifesting. And again, it's difficult to add anything to what Andrew said. Again, in my experience, this is all true. So manifestation and magic Well, magic could be the process of gaining more control over that which is natural as breathing.
I want to touch on two things that you guys just said. I also want to cut away to a video that I have on standby. The two things that I want to touch on, you said that that process could be hijacked, and that is absolutely true. There are a lot of people who join magical groups. And I also want to touch on, tie it into what Andrew said, because in terms of the manifestation and your responsibility as a practitioner has to align with the highest moral good that you can perceive. And so sometimes being in a group situation where there's magic for the purpose of manifesting certain effects may not be in your highest interest, and it may not be in the highest interest of the people you are around either. There are people who become batteries to magical operations, okay? And we want to caution you, if you are intended to become a practitioner, you have to check the self first, and you have to sit down and actually get within your own self and decide what kind of magical practitioner are you? Are you a battery? Are you just a manifester? Or are you the complete practitioner who sees all angles? Okay? Because there's a responsibility to grow, as Andrew said, when you become a magical practitioner. It can't just be pulling bunnies out of hats. I mean, that's kind of cool, actually, now that I think of it. Can I borrow your hat? But anyway, it's kind of cool. But there is a responsibility to grow. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to cut away to a video, and annoyance warning. I don't use the word trigger. Annoyance warning. This may annoy some of you who are serious practitioners, but I wanted to show you this cutaway so that we can get this conversation started.
Our next guests, Alexandra Wenman and Monica Hammond, claim they were so fed up waiting for their dream men to turn up that they decided to conjure up a man using magic.
I'm not out of thin air.
No, it's like the kind of ones. You've got to believe.
Well, I suppose they're very powerful, clearly. They're both now happily married. They joined us to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning to both of you. Listen, this is
Okay.
fascinating, isn't it?
Alexandra, let's start with you. Where did this start? What was, what were you thinking? What was your life doing at this point?
Well, I've always been quite magical. I was born psychic, and
I got to pause the video here, guys. What does that mean? I've always been quite magical. What is she referring to here?
So just to jump in, so can you guys notice how we're looking at the right eyeball, the right orbit is deeply sunk in?
Yeah.
Yes.
You see how off skew that is, and the swelling on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You see how all the bones are misaligned in the head.
Mm-hmm.
This person's not put together. Their residual image is not that. So this person has made it to this level, but is now showing her inability right here to handle the pressure. And as for using this fun love, she sold herself out. That's what this is.
Yeah.
She sold out to the marketing. And this is a bad practitioner, like you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what's problematic about that? It's the cross use of words like conjuring. Conjure a man.
Right. That was scripted, and this isn't her. That's why the orbit bone is sunk. When she understood what she actually had to do to sell this and get this concept onto that level of that TV. You can actually see it in the body that she had to, break a really big part of her soul frequency to get there. And makeup can't fix this. What's this? What's this by the left eye? That by that left eye. Hey, what is that? Is that a manifestation? A tear?
There is something else that I'm seeing here. The moisture level in her body is out of sync. You could see it in the hair.
Yeah.
The moisture level in her body is out of sync, and that is coming from prolonged desperation and trying to keep things together, because you can manifest something, but can you maintain that thing that you manifest?
Exactly.
right?
This is a person who's lost control of their creation. And books are a magical creation.
Yep.
Now, whatever the book is, it's a magical creation.
Yep. And so we're going to continue, and we're going to analyze this entire her section.
Just something, if I may point out, just focusing on the eyes, you can sense that there's something within crying out.
Correct.
In anguish.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm going to make a prediction. I've never seen this before. You're going to see at least 2 personality shifts in whatever we watch, where she tries to gain back control.
Sure.
And we'll see it right away. Yeah. Go ahead.
I feel energy. I'm a highly sensitive person, and I tend to feel when there's sort of magic in the air. I'm also a hopeless romantic, and for most of my life, I was waiting for the one, as most women are taught. You have to get the fairy tale right. But I always had this feeling that there was a person, my person, out there
waiting for
me. And I guess, when I was younger and I had a busy job, I didn't really, think about it. Wasn't very lucky in love. And then one day I just went, you know what, it's time. And I remember that my grandfather had died, and he and my grandmother were really madly in love. He was beautiful.
That was the first shift right there, but we're going to continue.
Gentleman. So I had this conversation with him in spirit, and I said, right, go and find him. Go and get him now.
Stop. Pause it right there, David. She brought up spirit for the first time. So she switched really fast. You were just saying, you said she switched, and then she switched right back. Okay. Now look between the eyebrows. Okay. What's going on there?
That's the inner personality. That's the inner personality. She's not in control of the muscles, letting her know that this is something that's not happening, and she's out of integrity with herself. That's the. She's
also been well coached, but the coaching is breaking down right now. Yeah.
This is a very interesting and sad thing to watch, and I'll tell you why that is. Because her posturing, the posture that she's sitting in, she's trying to maintain it, but she can't. And
she can't. Yeah.
And it's becoming worse and worse as the interview continues. But Amir, I'm going to let you jump in here.
There's just the whole energy is off. There's a mishmash of energies jumping from one to another. And also, again, I'm drawn to the eyes continuously. The pupils are not entirely circular.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's not good.
So
that's not bad camera either. That's literally you're watching this person's image, her own self-projected image, whether it relates to her image or not. You're watching her in unconfidence, which at this high level, why David brought up this video is because what is magic? Did she use love to find magic, or like David, you said before, or is that like a binding spell?
Here's the thing. She just said that she spoke to a spirit and told him, go get it.
Yeah, go get him. Exactly. She said spirit, which is that backward shift.
For those of you who don't really get into the academics of what conjuring or what sorcery is, and I don't want to give these definitions away because it's going to be linked to the quiz that's going to be underneath this video of my esoteric quiz. But for those of you who don't get the difference, if you go and you contact a spirit to tell the spirit to go get someone, whenever you're utilizing that kind of magic, there is always an exchange that has to happen. I think this lady is the victim of the wrong end of an exchange. I really think so.
Her creation hijacked her.
And to maintain it, she's using a lot of energy, huh, Andrew?
Yeah. Because right now she is her whatever book she created or whatever project she created has been de-evolving her since she finished writing it. Or finished creating it. To get it to this level, she had to disconnect from the material. She had to lose her center.
Yeah.
It's like getting a loan from a loan shark, knowing you can't pay.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
That's a very good way to put it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Very good way.
So now they're paying her a visit.
Pay attention to her lips.
Yep.
Around about the same time, I was working as a journalist, and I went and covered a story for a workshop, which was a manifesting workshop, and I learned to do vision boards and things like that.
So just to stop there, what does manifesting and vision boards?
So manifesting is where you kind of call to you what you want. You use the law of attraction through the power of positive thinking and positive visualization, and you kind of act as though you've already done it, you've already got it. So you tune into those emotions, and say you're looking for love, you act as though you're already in love. You treat yourself as though you're already in love, and it attracts it in. Yeah, so I learned to do vision boards. I made this vision board, and then I took it one step further. When I went home, I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go to town with this because I can feel this magic in the air. So I wrote a letter to the universe. I wrote all the details of what my ideal person should be like, and it was tall, dark, and handsome.
So you're quite specific.
I was quite specific.
You don't post that, do you?
But no.
Can I ask for a pause here, please?
Universe. So
Yep, sure.
Okay, so this is probably the most common misperception among the general public I've seen, that secret law of attraction. So my understanding is that the external, the reality, is like a mirror. It reflects what's within. So there's no talk about getting your own self to the correct vibration.
Correct.
Purifying yourself.
Which is why vision boards and all that stuff is a trap of energy if you don't evolve your practice with it.
You want to know what else is problematic in what she's saying? Now, she is talking about manifesting. So she's moved from giving commands to spirit entities, and she's talking about utilizing magic boards. So she's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this, which speaks to a certain level of desperation. This person is not a student of magic.
No,
right?
not at all. She's just a disposable tool to magic.
But I think that she came to the magical solution through the function, right, of desperation. And we all know, and we've had that talk earlier on in our broadcast, Amir.
Yeah.
When you despair, that is when you deal with dark entities.
Absolutely.
Right? When you despair. Now, she's already said that she was waiting for many, many years, right, for this man to come on, and she got fed up and she contacted the spirit of a dead relative and said, go get him, go get him. Okay, so she's talking about that she's very specific. She wants it tall, dark, and handsome. Notice that she did not talk about the qualities of the individual. Okay,
right?
So
because it's such a shallow teaching, and shallowness is what's wrong with many of the light worker communities in these marketing nightmare scenarios.
That is absolutely correct. Notice the qualities that she's putting forward first. This woman is not entirely present. Where are her eyes looking at right now? Where? Thank you for the call there, because she's looking down.
Now she looks down whenever she doesn't know what to do next. That's think of it like a Rolodex of energy, and whatever's pre-programmed her in muscle memory is going to come up. This is how coach she is. So she has naturally regurgitating answers that just keep her babble flowing, because that's all she's really doing is babbling right now. There's no, like you just said, David, there's no instruction behind the mind, et cetera, all the other things we talked about in the opening. Discipline, you're just willy-nilly doing it, throwing up art on the wall, thinking it's perfect. Yep. You know, brown spots on the wall by the Chinese author Hu Flung Pu.
God damn it. I knew this was going to be fun. Anyway, let's move on. Hu Flung Pu.
I said, look, he's got to be funny. He's got to have a great sense of humor. He's a nut job, my husband. He really does have a crazy sense of humor.
She's trying to convince herself.
Yeah.
Yes, but she's coached on this to do that. This is marketing. Now we have to understand this woman. She said earlier she dropped the thing. She was a news reporter, so she knows how to do scripts. Okay, and that's what's coming out now. This is the scripted her, and the one that says how to smile, how to look, when to turn, etc. The Barbie doll that isn't real.
That's exactly right, Andrew. It's so fake, and you can just sense this immense internal tension like parts of her are fighting to tear herself apart.
There is another thing that I'm picking up intuitively. The life that she is talking about is not a life that's real. It's a life that has to be real to her. Okay.
So who will this woman's energy appeal to? The desperate.
Yes, the desperate women.
The desperate.
For, spiritual connection and physical connection with men that are compatible with them, not realizing that this is not the way.
So one of the other thing, who is this woman behind her just sitting at a television?
She's the other person who manifested a man.
Because I've been watching the energy between the two of them, even though they're not sitting right next together, they're etherically interacting, and it's really, really quite amusing.
All right, yeah, I'm actually watching it. The smile kills me, but anyway, let's move on.
And just one small thing, if I may add. Again, there is some manifestation within each of us. If you're manifesting from a point of desperation, the universe reflecting that, you're going to attract people that are desperate. So again, exactly what Andrew mentioned.
Or you're gonna attract the manipulator, narcissist type as well. Because if you're desperate and you need to fill a void, the universe will give you so much. It'll give you that thing in abundance. Right, and then you're gonna wonder who flung poo.
Exactly, who flung poo?
There you go.
Chinese artist.
Down to the looks, healthy, wants to travel. And on my vision board, I'd put all these places like Machu Picchu and Chichen Itza and the pyramids. And we've been to all those places now together.
Wow!
But I wrote this letter to the universe, all in positive language. You can't do negative language because you only attract what you're putting out. And I burnt it and I released it, and I just stayed in absolute trust. And I said, okay, so if he's out there and if this magic that I'm feeling in the air is aligned, go get him, universe. And then I lit a candle. It was a red candle. I remember it was a red candle.
Again, go get him, universe. Oh God!
This is an example of Cracker Jack box magic. Okay, the stuff you get inside, you get inside those trading card games. Here's your trading card spell. Okay, this is awful. You even recall the call.
That's why I brought it. I know it would trigger the two of you.
Now I want to for the people. I want to just say for the people out here, David chose this video because, like he said, he knew it would trigger. She's a good human. She's just confused about what real magic is, and no one knows inside her soul she's sold out to get there. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I would not buy a product from her because that's what I sense from her. And there are other people who would have sensed something completely different. At the comments below, give us your observation of her body language and facial language, and we want to know what some of your thoughts are.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how every time we pause the video, she's looking down. The internal struggle continues.
Yes, and it gets better because the person behind her, if you are noticing, for those of you who are watching this video in post, if you're noticing, look at the person behind her, because the interaction between them is beginning to break down.
Yep.
Candle, and I carved hearts in it because it helps to put symbols and things. And I literally let the candle burn all the way down overnight. And that's the same thing. You're releasing it to the universe, and you're saying, right, this is what I want. I'm anchoring it in with this positive visualization.
This is not how you do candle magic. I'm gonna just leave it there. This is not how you do candle magic. Okay.
No, this is great. This is grape shot magic. You put a whole bunch of things and shoot it all out at once. Yeah.
And just in the facial expressions of the lady in the TV, the customer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's funny as hell.
It's about, she's about to just shout out, I call bullshit. Like it's bubbling up to the surface.
Yeah, but she's also interviewed, so we're going to probably get to.
Is that magic or is that positive reinforcement?
Well, it's the same thing. It's one in the same.
Right, okay.
It's one in the same, really. I mean, it's positive thinking. You work with your imagination, you work with your emotions with any of this, and that is the doorway into the beyond.
So then Anthony turned up, and he's now part of your life.
He turned up, and I didn't even know he was in front of my face. He was my housemate for 5 months. And
oh, look at your wedding picture.
Pause.
Yes.
My housemate manifested my spell.
He was your housemate. He was right in front of your face. Like, okay, stop. Okay, we need to regroup here, guys. We do need to regroup.
Yeah.
Did she just say that he was her housemate? He was
Yes.
in front of her?
Yes. And it took her 5 months to realize it.
It took her 5 months and a lot of candles. You forgot about the candles.
Now this video, this picture of her and him, this is pre-organized. This is scripted. All this shit's scripted.
Can we go to
Look
the
at the
previous
look on
image?
on the individual's
Yeah.
face, though. Look
Yeah.
at the look on his face.
Oh yes, the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that glance. That is not a good glance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a song for our wedding as well. And when he turned up, I actually was looking for a flat. The turn of events was incredible. I had to move really quickly out of my house. And then I went and he opened the door to this flat that I was looking at. And
So interesting.
I remember looking at him and going, and because he didn't look like how I would want my soulmate to look. He didn't have hair. He had a shaved head. So I was looking at this guy going, oh, I don't know. He looks like a bit of a thug. I'm not sure I can live.
You know, I had to pause there, right? He didn't look like what her soulmate was. What happened to the vision boards?
Or I don't know if I could live with this guy. You just met him. Did you catch that part? There's a whole bunch of internal subconscious faux pas going on with this woman right now. And I want to point out the woman in the back. Remember I said that the eyeball, look at the shapes of the eyeballs. She is opposite, and she's actually one sinking and one's raising on a regular basis because she can't tune into this other woman. Because this woman is just what I call, complete in babble mode, or she's just doing light worker salad, anything that makes it look fresh and springy.
Okay, so problematic, the turn of events. If you're looking for a demon, as an example, there's always going to be one around the corner. Okay, that it depends on your perception. You could walk into an angel and think it's a demon. Okay, in this woman's case, she was looking for the manifestation of all the magic salad that she put together, the little magical smoothie that she made, right? And the man showed up. How many men before her walking past her in the gym, right? Which she said, oh, that's him. That's what the universe brought me. How many men before this man would have had that encounter? I submit to you guys that this soulmate, this catch that she had, was the man that was around her the most. Does that make sense? And this is where we find ourselves. But I love this woman's expression. I'm just going to put my mouth. Look at that expression. That's priceless.
Look at that expression.
That's just priceless. That expression, I love it.
And that's not Bell's palsy.
Just continue.
Yeah. But then I was like, this is not the guy. If I move in with two guys, maybe they'll have friends. You never know, the network, you don't know. So he opened the door and looked at his face and thought, oh yeah, no, I'm not into him. But then I looked in his eyes and I recognized something in his eyes. It wasn't love at first sight, or I didn't recognize it as that. It took me 5 months to come around to the idea that he was the one. And then I moved out and then I went, oh God, I've left somebody behind. And then we went on a date.
Now, Monica, my namesake, Monica Hammond, you were a little bit more specific than Alexandra. Why don't you tell us about your story?
For me, I can show a different angle because I wasn't into energy work back then. I am psychic, I'm a medium, but my abilities developed later on in life. So back then I was 24, I was tired, I had experienced many failed relationships, and yes, at that young age, many failed relationships, and not very nice. I dated an alcoholic and a narcissist, and whatnot. I was tired.
We've all been there. But tell me about the nitty-gritty. Tell us about the spell that you did.
So I kind of got to know the law of attraction, and I decided to give it a go rather than going on date.
I sense the secret is going to be referenced there.
Yeah. I actually think that this is something the network created. These two people are creations. the black woman just said, "Tell me what spell you used."
Yes.
So this is all scripted. This is all scripted. Well, it just shows how dumb the scriptwriter really is, and how dumb the scriptwriter is, and the fact that he doesn't know anything about what, manifestation, magic, law of attraction. He's completely, whoever they are, they're completely unaware of its application.
Okay, but please, this is an important point. What's the agenda? So it's obviously this is probably ITV in the UK or something like that. They all have British accents. So, but what's the agenda?
To sell you something.
Well, let's hope so. And whatever it is, let's see if this pans out.
It does, as per usual. And so what I did was I went down the route of imagining what it is that I'm experiencing with that guy. And my guy was already there because we met at a first aid course at work, and we performed resuscitation on one another. So it really struck me. I really felt connection.
So hold on a minute, Monica. So
Okay, just so that we're clear, resuscitation on one another. How do you fall in love when somebody's giving you chest compressions? Or the high.
Well, it's the fact they had to go lip to lip, man. And the compressed chest compression was, is she dead? Dead fish? Nope, they're alive.
It begs the question, where were his hands during the chest compression? Was it on the xyphon prostate? Look, I don't know. Look, anyway, let's just move on. Keep this rolling, because this is getting better and better by the minute. I'm actually enjoying my afternoon today.
you had the person, so it was like Gareth, he worked with you, and you were like, he's going to be mine, and you just like pretended like he was already yours.
So yes, kind of. We met by a pure coincidence on a training course, because we worked in different services. So I saw him that one time, and then I again on another course. And yes, that was what I felt. But the thing is that I had to stress to the universe that if he's single, I like him, because I don't want anybody to suffer. I don't want anybody to drop anything else for me. So that's the thing, and that's very important.
Just so we can clear up this, so no one's casting spells here.
No, you have to be really careful with the person's free will. You're not forcing anybody.
Stop there. Stop right there. First mention of responsibility in this. 7 minutes into it.
And let's look at who's talking. Someone who's lost their free will.
Somebody who said, "Go get him." Somebody who said,
"Look at the energy she took it over with." This is an example of self-possession, not external. How obsessive her own self is.
Look at the expression of the woman in the screen. Oh my God, that's funny as hell. Look,
there's just deep sadness. I'm picking this up right? That's a really sad energy.
Yeah, because she just cut across her. You had a chance to speak. The individual is speaking, so she's a little bit pissed, and she's a little bit pissed because if I'm not mistaken, the lady in the back is thinking, yo, you don't know what you're talking about, because she just contradicted herself on the responsibility the doctrine that she just used, because she just said earlier on in the broadcast that she told the spirit to go get him. So what are you talking about free will at this stage of the game? It's 7 minutes in. What the lady said in the black said was, if he's single, I want him, which is also problematic. Because this is not, you're not placing an order at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You're not doing that. These are people we're talking about. What the responsible thing to ask is, I would like someone out there who I can expand my knowledge with, who I can share with and grow with, who can teach me something. Not that particular man that gave me chest compressions with his hands in the wrong place. I don't understand this concept. So if he's single, I want him. Right? Universe, go get him. This is very problematic to me and a little bit scary. Okay? Right? Because if you have these women out there, it's like a mercenary force of people who are putting out
Zealots,
energy,
headhunters, spiritual headhunters, yeah.
right? Putting out this domination energy so that people's energy gets trapped in it, and it's not cool. It's not cool at all. It's actually a little bit frightening, right? I'm watching this with a little bit of shock and horror, and I didn't actually watch it. I just queued it for you guys, but I should have watched this first because now I'm getting annoyed.
Yes. Let's finish this because there's only 2.5 minutes left, and then go from there because there's a lot to happen in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, you will be mine.
When Bartzis was like, is there going to be a moment where these guys in 5 years' time they go, hang on, who the hell are you?
It's not like a bewitching, you know. We're not in the witch trials anymore. But no, it's like you kind of, in my experience, you sort of ride on the current of the magic, and you can kind of feel it in yourself if you're ready for something. You can use it with anything. Money, success, if you're kind of feeling it in the air, then you can capitalize on that. You know, when you get a sense that something's meant for you, you know, you've got childhood dreams or visions about what you want your life to be like. You can kind of sense it when it's about to drop in. And if you do some magic or manifestation, it's like the two meet. Like if you listen to the universe, you can bring it into alignment, and then what is for you will never pass you by.
I totally get the concept of positive thinking and reinforce it. Like, but if people just sit at home going, well, I want £1 million, if I just will that, that's the, you know, it's important we stress that it's not a shopping list.
It has to be for your highest good as well. So if you were going to win £1 million, but then you're the sort of person that doesn't know how to spend £1 million and is likely to go out and blow it, the universe might not allow you to have the £1 million. But, you know, it's about getting yourself used to the idea that you know what you're going to do with that money. Say you're somebody, it might happen with people, you know, say you're somebody who's a bit of a humanitarian and you've got a vision of something you want to build with that £1 million. Then the universe might go, wow, well, I can really see that this person's been put through their paces. Maybe they've known hardship or poverty. They're going to use this for the highest good. So, okay, we'll drop it in. We'll allow.
Alexandra, Monica, honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Yeah, nice talking
Really.
Okay, I'm just going to cut back to have this discussion. Okay, so much to unpack there. So I'm going to just start with the obvious here. Notice that she shied away from the reference to bewitching and witchcraft, but she's using candle magic, contacting spirits, etc. Okay, that's a bit problematic. A lot of this is kind of scary stuff to me, because what you are saying is that there are a bunch of mercenary individuals out there who are utilizing magical spells to, I mean, it's fairly frivolous, right? You don't have to worry about that if you're a protected individual. But let's say that you're a man walking down the road, enjoying your life, you know, just being, any of these women see you and says, oh, universe, go get him. Spirit, go get him. Okay? That's problematic in and of itself. The truth of the matter is that we're living in a sea of ill-timed magic flying everywhere. We're living in that kind of sea. And so people are subjected daily to partial psychic attacks, what we used to call binding, and they don't know. And if their protection and their spiritual practices are not very developed, then even an unskilled person can entrap them. That is the statement of fact. And so what I want to say here is that if you are listening to this broadcast, it is your personal responsibility to keep up your spiritual practice and protect yourself at all times. Keep up your spiritual practice, learn, read, and protect thyself. That is my take on everything I just saw.
So I want to add in the term shared reality. We all share a reality, but what are the mechanics of the reality that says we can share them? Is that quantum physics, quantum mechanics? Is that in the realm of the next level of thinking? And is go get it, spirit, that? And what are the different states of being of that isness? Isness, wasness, werness. Is it a form of herself? One of the things that I like to talk about is when you've decided to master practitioner, meaning you're going to be disciplined enough to have enthusiastic effort during all your practices so you get really good at it. There comes a point where you get what I call the precognitive workforce. A workforce paving the bricks ahead of you, setting up thoughts, concepts, structures, ideas, and sometimes whole documents that just flow right out of you. So is what she talking about from the most babyest scripted aspects that? In a sense, yes. It's just been twisted by marketing.
Yes, and it's the marketing that will get you in trouble. Amir, you want to speak on this?
Yes, the whole thing was rather upsetting. Again, people are going to watch this and be drawn into this. And again, with the example of taking a loan from a loan shark, there's a price to be paid down the road. So they just broadcast this scripted scenario. I'd really like to see both these individuals in 6 months to see what has actually happened to them. Because usually with this kind of binding or conjuring, they have one thing in common: they're unsustainable.
Correct.
They go wrong one way or another. There's no way out of it. And once they go wrong, you still have to pay the piper. And that's the extreme upsetting thing, that they have overstepped the will of an individual, brought them into this match, and that's going to not work out. So you've taken energy from some random victim, and then there's a price to pay.
One of the major things that, and there's another aspect to this, one of the major problems I've always had in terms of how people try to get people into the occult and occult practices is the mass production of Ouija boards to gain answers from supposed spiritual entities, right? And so people go down and they buy the Ouija board and so on, right? And they sell it to them and whatever else. And it may be just a game to them. But really and truly, if you are trying to contact entities, there's only, look, I'm going to say this to you. If you're trying to contact an entity, you don't have to go very far. Okay?
It's no different than Tinder. It's no different than Tinder.
You don't have to go very far.
They're flipping you. They're screen flipping you.
Okay? And so you find that these people become dependent on these kinds of instruments and tools to gain answers to things that they should intuitively be developing themselves to answer themselves. About a week from now, on Monday, I'm going to be having an interview with a lady who's been a witch her entire life. She is horrified by what has become of that craft. Okay, she is horrified by this, right? So you buy these Ouija boards and you say, okay, you know what? Spirit, tell me, is this the man for me? Or where would I go to find a man and stuff like that? And you use those things and you're expecting it will end well for you, when it actually definitely will not end well for you. Because here's the thing about it. You try to contact an entity will always be right there for you. As Andrew said, it's like going on a Tinder date. You think you're going to be contacting something that's working in your highest good, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work really well for you.
Absolutely. You see, we spoke in much detail about the process of purifying oneself, enhancing oneself, improving your exertion of will through discipline and hardship, and that any kind of meaningful progress is the result of sincere dedication over an extended period of time. So none of this is happening. There is no growth. There's no development. There's no learning. It's just an interaction. So again, they keep throwing in the universe as if it is something separate from what we have within. So they're just asking for stuff that's really, really short-sighted. Instead of asking for happiness everlasting, they're asking for a certain individual. So, okay, let's just even consider that the bargain that they strike will bring them the individual and it matches their checklist. But then there's going to be something seriously off. All those categories they mentioned, that's short-sighted, you know? So again, with manifestation, with any kind of ritual where you want to manifest something, my experience is you don't make it specific, you make it general. My highest good and the highest good of all.
And that is specific and general at the same time.
Yes, yes, yes. And that contradiction is resolved by forces that we don't understand. But that kind of general... Yeah.
I want to interject here.
Please.
So that force is you and how much you believe in you're right or wrong.
Okay.
Because in all reality, everyone's right, whether they're right or wrong doesn't matter. In their mind, they're right. And this is still part of this shared reality rules, which allows Bob and Joe to rob Peter and Paul.
Here's the other aspect, and here's another trap that I find that is becoming more and more popular. Cleansing practices, because they're a kind of magic in and of themselves. I just did a show last night with a lady, and we were talking about feminine cleansing practices, yoni steam and jade egg practices. Okay. We need to talk about that because, like evolutions, what the Muslims do, your mind has to be in that, right? That is a trap in and of itself. So you think you're going to sit on a yoni steam, and if you just close your eyes, you'll get rid of whatever bad energy is in your private parts.
Jim, Joe, Bob, and Jane are her names.
I don't know where to start with this. Let's say it's steam. It opens you up. You cannot just arbitrarily do a ritual, sit on a yoni steam, and expect cleansing to happen. You absolutely need to be responsible where that aspect is concerned and do the ritual properly with the right mindset. And that ritual is actually a long, extended ritual where your mind is prepared first, and the process of letting go of the toxins, because you can absolutely detoxify any part of your body by adding heat to it, go to a sauna. But that particular practice at its origin was meant to remove not only the toxins from your private parts, but it was also meant to remove the toxins that you harbor inside. And I see a lot of people doing cleansing rituals. It's a commercial thing now. Everybody's selling something for cleansing rituals. They're selling herbs and so on, and people are just running up into the stuff, right? But that in and of itself is a magical process. The cleansing is a magical process. It's a magical process that you perform on yourself. And so we need to talk about that in the sense that people get hooked into continuous cleansing. Andrew kept speaking about the uses of ayahuasca, the overuses of ayahuasca, right?
Oh, one second. Yes, the overuses of it, because it's worked into its own religion, and ayahuasca was never meant to be its own religion, as with all animals, medicine teachers.
So this concept of cleansing, that in and of itself is a trap, because the premise is that I am really, really dirty. And even if I went to 5 ayahuasca ceremonies,
or 45.
Right? 45, there are people that have
people that have done 100, David. I've had people that have think that have done 180. I'm like, what? If you're not done after 12, that's not the drug, that's not the medicine for you.
How are you going?
They don't do the in-between work. They only do the work when they're on the medicine. And because they never do the in-between work, they never really advance the way they were supposed to from the beginning.
Absolutely. So talking about purification and cleansing, if it is done correctly, even the act of exhaling can be a purifying action. Urinating and defecation can be turned into expunging and expelling these negative energies from the body. But then again, it has to, the in-between work that Andrew mentioned, it has to result in some sort of change in what we do. Otherwise, what's the point? Even if it does work, it won't work if that change does not happen in your mind, in your heart, and in your own energy. And that's the other components of a successful cleanse, that you're doing this wholeheartedly. You prepare for the cleanse. It's not just like going to a restaurant and eating a meal and coming out. Every component has to have the preparation done correctly. So if you're cleansing your body with salt, you can't just use any salt. you have to give that intention of cleansing to all aspects of the ritual. So that intention must be yours and must be present, and you must know it's towards your own good. So therefore, all these ingredients, they're not going to do anything if the mind and the heart is not into it.
I also want to briefly touch on embodiment practices, which is the new form of magic that is out there. And so I did have the opportunity to speak to somebody about what embodiment practices are, and the individual gave me a definition about getting into your body, and what it looks like is starting to move and embody the primal movements that you're cut off from. So I'm trying to imagine this construct, right? So what you're doing is reinventing an old shamanic practice and repackaging it as embodiment practices.
This is the faux enlightenment teachers, FAUX, faux enlightened.
But you know what I'm talking about here, Andrew, because you've had the shamanic training. So they're basically going into primal movements, moving like the animals to embody themselves.
Because there's a lack of adequate teachers out there that are marketed correctly, who are embodied themselves. And the price points for everyone is so different because there's such a price disparity between happiness and success at each different monetary level that people can afford. And that's the unfortunate truth. Unfortunately, the other side is a lot wish to teachings to give it away for free, and you can't give teachings away for free because they'll never truly be respected.
So true. Absolutely.
Agreed.
It just gets treated like dog shit. It's so bad that I use these words, but that's so true. The reverence of the teachings are completely thrown away if it's free. They don't respect it and value it. And again, let's just talk about a skilled master shaman performing a cleanse or removal of negative energy. We know that this is a possibility, right? Now, what's the use of that if there's no change in the individual and they go right back into the dirty doo-doo they've been swimming in? It's not going to have any effect. So that change of perception, self-work, self-cleansing, in mind, body, in energy, in action, in words, in what you actually are. People keep throwing out this word, the universe this, the universe that. Let's forget about the damn universe. It's all within. There is nothing that is not within. So if the within is not cleansed, no action, no ritual is going to be of any effect or any use. Rather, during it, there's a high likelihood that you're opening yourself up to even nastier stuff.
Absolutely. And this has been a very interesting talk, and I'll tell you why this is very interesting to me. Is because that video that we just watched represents a lot of the population.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
A lot of the population are the subject of a lot of marketing.
Can I interject? Yep. An India from India would not fall for that video. A Chinese from China would not fall for that video. They would see it as the contrived scam that it was.
Absolutely.
The Americans, unfortunately, because of Christianity, that's a Christianity order or looking script. You're doing a spell. You're doing something naughty. Okay.
But again, the Chinese and Indians have seen so many charlatans,
right?
That they've been vaccinated against it.
Exactly, they've been vaccinated against the charlatans.
That was hilarious. That was a hilarious analogy. All right.
But again, let's please return to the general theme that's been developing in all these talks we've had. Know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Do the research. Find out what everything means. Don't just jump into something. Don't put your foot in the bear trap. And again, it has to involve personal effort, consistent over a long period of time. Slowly but surely, you discover those boundaries of the mind, those limitations that are around you. Slowly but surely, you expel them. So that would be proper cleansing.
Yeah, a lot of people ask, what is effort? What is real effort? Well, a lot of people have a hard time of stop processing, and they just keep go and go and go. And they don't take the pause to actually let the brain catch up to what's just happened. And when they're in forever processing mode, they miss key nuances of certain teaching subjects, concepts, or just natures of experiences, which is also what makes this light worker people making word salads of spiritual words where they think they're all making sense. But it's no different than a guy in the corner rapping about blunts, 40s, and hoes. Okay? Is the blunt a magic item? To that guy, it is. Okay? What's the hoe?
It's more of a magical item.
That's exactly. There's far more magic energy going on there. Okay.
Yes.
So what takes that effort scale? This is something I like to use. 15 minutes, 5 days a week of enthusiastic effort working towards understanding magic, meaning doing a meditation, doing a sound therapy, whatever it is you're going to do as part of your practice, sun gazing, spell work. 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week is C+ effort.
A revocation.
Yep, or revocation. 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, C+ effort. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, B+ effort. 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week, A+ effort. There's your effort scale. And the key is you have to experience a variety of techniques so you find out what works with you. And then you have to begin your personal chronicling of your journey. How do you feel? What are you looking at? The inner work is not something you do with another person. You don't do inner work with your psychic. The psychic is supposed to say, this is the inner work you got to go work on.
I had a teacher many years ago, a teacher who was instructing me on ritualistic and magic teachings. And at that time, we had books piled really high, okay? And you had to go through those books. And I was like, can't you just summarize it for me? Because I was young and I was stupid, okay? And I'm still young and stupid. Now, let's not get it twisted. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what he said to me. A man who can read and does not read has no advantage over a man who cannot read. So all of you metaphysicians and esoteric people out there, you can read. But if you don't read, you are not different than what Andrew just said. The guy on the corner who's rapping about hoes and blunts and bling. Yes. You're not different, okay? And I think that a lot of what we touched on is actually salient points of how people come into this practice but aren't willing necessarily to do the work, because this is hard work. Let's not get it twisted. This is hard work. This is the work of your life. It's not something that is going to, it's not something that you can come in for the weekend. I keep saying that. You can't be in it for the weekend.
Unfortunately, a lot of people get trapped into being weekend warriors spiritually because they give themselves no time during the weekday. And David, you and I have talked about corporate level people selling their soul. They literally sold their soul so that all of their energy goes into this, and any weekend time they have is all they get to do to amplify themselves. And it's always a zero-sum game for them.
Yes.
And if I may add something, Andrew and David, both of you talked about dealers. I just want to go back to the video we looked at the beginning. Now, this person has made a deal with an entity, not knowing what or whom it is. Now, they end up owing the entity a great deal of energy, and like junkies who start dealing just to make their own use, this is what's happening here. This person is now infecting other people.
Bingo.
So they are...
Correct.
Hell yeah, that's such a great description of what's going on when you've got to sell your soul for marketing fame or any type of higher form of fame.
Correct.
You just got to keep dealing, and you have no choice. Your free will is completely gone. You're acting out of a compulsion that is just like a junkie.
I want to say something here, and I'm going to dip into Amir's background. There were beings that lived called jinn.
Yes.
Now, everybody, when they hear the word jinn, you may not know what that is. It's a genie, okay? You know, like
and not Disney's genie.
You know, you rub the lamp and the guy pops out and gives you your 3 wishes. Well, let me explain to you. The jinn weren't the nicest creatures that you could find anywhere. The jinn,
they're gangsters, straight up, Anthony.
the jinn were the worst things that you could come across in terms of spiritual entities. You want to know why? They wouldn't destroy you by taking things away from you. They would destroy you by giving you what you want. That is the worst kind of destruction that there is. So one of the big principles that people who practice magic must understand, and I want you to, if y'all don't take anything from this broadcast, please take this part. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. So how the jinn used to operate, straight up gangsters, as Andrew said, they would give you what you want and it would ruin you in ways that you can't imagine. Okay? Yes, I want $20 million, but you know how you're going to get it? You're going to end up in an accident crippled. And the settlement from the insurance is $20 million. You can't do anything because you're quadriplegic. That's how you get the $20 million. That's how the jinn used to roll. Okay? Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. You see, magic is not like, this is not like potluck. What this lady was describing is not magic. It is absolutely not. You got to control the expansion from yourself, and you got to control where that ball drops when you throw that ball up into the air. Okay? Because what she's describing is shooting a gun up into the air, not knowing when the bullet is going to come down or how it's going to come down.
Yeah. Or who is going to hit.
Or who it's going to hit.
Yes.
Without any care, because she's blissfully ignorant of the greater view.
Absolutely. If I just may add a small part about the jinn, again, nature being fire elemental, far more ancient than people, or their origins go back to the very start of Earth. They're non-physical. Their lifespans are very, very long, incomprehensible to most people. And again, they're not on the top of the pyramid of energy harvesting. There's again badder, nastier beings enslaving them. So the whole thing is energy harvesting. Mm-hmm. They're just the enforcers for the top member of the mafia, whoever that is. So we can talk about that perhaps. But again, they're mid-level gangsters, enforcers, really.
Yeah, you got to find Tony Soprano here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And people, you see, they're short-sighted in what they feel or think is desirable, not knowing that the most valuable thing is your life force, that sense of calm and happiness. Now, if that's what they ask for, I highly doubt that the jinn can deliver. They don't deal in happiness and life force. They're in the business of extortion of it. Okay? So if you think that $20 million is a really good thing, material stuff, again, these are all just zeros and ones in a computer somewhere. They don't value these things. These are just like dust and ash to them. So some idiot comes, offers their life force in exchange for dust and ash. Of course they're going to do it, right? And that's the tragedy, because it becomes like a virus. They infect one person, that person gets hooked and indebted, enslaved and out of their mind, and then they got to infect more people. It's part of the reason we're in such a mess nowadays. Our society is all jumbled up with all that, Andrew calls it dirty underwear soup. That's what we're all swimming in.
We're all wearing the same dirty energy underwear.
Oh.
I once knew a lady, and I need to cue the Led Zeppelin song here, Stairway to Heaven. I once knew a lady who practiced magic on herself to make herself lose weight. She lost a lot of weight.
Did she lose all of it?
She was using conjuring magic to lose weight. Well, she lost a lot of weight. She also lost a lot of strength. She also lost some of her hair, a lot of hair. She also lost a lot of vital energy, right? But she did lose weight. Be careful what you ask for. Don't be using magic. Listen,
especially don't be using magic when there's carb-friendly. There's no carb diets out there. You could drop it fast. Come on.
Look, Andrew, listen. I'm laughing at this. The reason why I'm laughing is this, because she utilized magical spells on herself. So imagine Just imagine you're siphoning gas from a car, but you're running the car at the same time, right?
Yes, robbing Peter to pay Paul internally.
So she lost a lot of weight. So I just want to say, when you're using magic, there's a responsibility, a higher responsibility that comes with it. Okay, when you're doing magical spells on yourself, oh my God, really? Especially when you're utilizing magic, destructive magic on yourself. People get tricked into that. That is destructive magic.
Right. That's why healing magic is called healing magic. It has the intention and wisdom behind it to be healing magic.
I just want to warn you guys that, because I'm quite sure listening to this broadcast right now are people who are practicing some form of destructive magic on themselves, whether wittingly or unwittingly. They're doing
and blissfully ignorant of the damage it does around them.
Yeah, to themselves
Okay,
and everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've all run into the person that's a vampiristic personality. Vampirism as a frequency of energy does exist. Look at everybody's met them. You get drained every time that person comes around. They're all just a black hole that just sucks everyone's energy in.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you can do to ever make them happy.
Yeah, but there are some people that are vampires to their own selves as well. And
magically, because they lust power.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Power over others. That's where the narcissist and magic can have the worst relationship ever.
Oh, that's the nastiest thing I've ever come across personally.
Well, imagine having a full-on narcissist that has a 8-year degree in philosophy, and that has learned magic, and you've got to help untrain them of the ways they manipulate people.
No, I think that these people are lost because they want to be lost.
They like it that way. There's no way out.
Right. They stop growing in vertical frequency and have stopped exploring the plateau that they're on. They are in what I call enlightenment traps. And those enlightenment traps, most of them are self-created.
It's no different from elders in a church. They know
no different. Right. The hierarchy is the limitation, the way that they do it. And you can have a non-hierarchical system that still protects information, because not everybody's ready for certain pieces of information. You got to prove yourself worthy to it. That's why learning how to have self-created litmus tests. Are you acidic to change, or are you neutral to it?
You know what? This is actually, thank you for that, Andrew, because, whenever you make a suggestion, I am going to create the magical litmus test. I'm going to create the magical, I'm going to utilize technology to create a little bit of a questionnaire, a little bit of a practice sheet for people who want to check to see whether they are actually vertically elevating or stuck exactly where they are. I think we need to put our heads together on this, and I think we need to create a litmus test for these people. We absolutely do.
I think we should create an AI that learns to ask questions through human learning, that gets stronger and stronger, and then put it up on then put it up on Twitter and see how long it goes before it goes crazy. Did you hear about that AI they put on Twitter and started swearing at everybody within 12 hours?
What? It loses its shit. It can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it lost its shit. They put an AI on there that says, hello, how you doing? This is real, David. You should Google it, seriously. They decided to put an AI up on Twitter, and they wanted it to engage hundreds of people at a time and then observe through machine learning. It became a troll within like 4 or 5 hours.
Jesus.
Straight up swearing at people, trolling, memeing, everything.
That's hilarious. I'm going to go research that. Well, guys, we've come to the end of our broadcast. This was fun. We need to do this again at some point in time. I'm going to let Andrew and Amir have the last word.
Well, this is what I want to say. If you truly want to be a magical practitioner, write yourself a note and put a date on it. And every day, look at it, put it on your refrigerator. Are you that yet? What will it take for you to become that? The first thing is, how much discipline do you have? Discipline is not mystical. How much inner fortitude do you maintain to maintain discipline? How do you hold yourself accountable? Again, none of that is mystical. Mystical is a side effect of practice that gives you aha moments over and over again until you get to the next plateau of aha. Now I understand something more. Daily practice, effort, discipline, those are all the things that a practitioner needs. And the next thing is You have to look at your work life. If your work life overloads you, you can carve time out. If you believe you can't carve time out, it owns you. Learn what sovereignty means, to be in your space fully, completely, and able to turn on your genius for yourself and not just for work. A lot of people that work in the high-level professions, they can only turn their genius on when they're doing their specific profession work. They can't apply it to outside subject matters. And being a magical practitioner means you are very familiar with how to enter the super genius moments and experience, process, and understand. That is the nature of observing magic within yourself.
Excellent. Amir?
I want to give the whole thing a little twist, go on the positive side and how this is done correctly. With effort, discipline, and moving on the right track, moving vertically, enhancing yourself, you don't need to ask for anything anymore. Things fall into your lap at the perfect time in the best possible fashion. So forget about asking for a lover or forget about asking for money. Purify yourself and watch the cosmos manifest for you, that which you had never imagined in 1,000 years. So that would be the correct way of doing it, not selling your soul to some entity and then becoming its bitch.
Correct. Correct. All right, this has been fun. For those of you who are looking at this broadcast, below this or above this post, you will find there a magical quiz, an esoteric quiz. You can challenge yourself and challenge your knowledge and challenge your intuition if you so desire. We'll be trying to create a little bit of a litmus test. I think I have a few ideas where that can go, and we hope that you try it out, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to take you guys away, and take care, everyone.